they'll see us on the side.
Okay.
I got a couple of points that I want to make, and I love that Brother Dillis, where he started from, because I want to talk not only about slavery, but before slavery, right? I want you to know, number one, that Black history is world history. Everybody type that in the comments, right? Black history is world history. This is what we're leaving out. This is the missing pages of world history. This is why nobody understands and respects our contributions to humanity on this planet, because we're systematically being written out of the dialogue, right? And we all the time, we just Black History Month, happy Black History Month, shout out to Carter G and Woodson for what he's done, and all the pioneers before him, like Martin Delaney, right? We talk about Pan-Africanism, right? Like we gotta start talking about everyone that has these conversations, not just the same 8 to 12 individuals that they talk about every single Black History Month, where our history is so vast, it's so deep, it's so powerful, it's so inspiring. Boom, inspiring. That's where I want to go with you today, because Dilla's a historian. I'm not a historian. I'm an enthusiast that uses Black history as a motivator to inspire people to do and be the change that they want to see in the world, right? So I'm going to tell you some stories. I'm going to try to get you a little bit fired up, but I'm going to share a couple of things with you, because Black history, right? We talk about inclusion, right? That's the hot topic right now. Inclusion. We got to include everybody in these stories and all of that, right? You know, Barack Obama is the Black president, and this is so great. Kamala Harris is so great, because these visions, to see them on the wall, is just an inspiration to our children. Is it? Is it? No diss to them for rising to the height of their profession. But if you want to talk about inspiring children, how about we go tell the truth? How about little Black boys and little Black girls find out that mathematics was brought to the planet by people that look like them? What do you think that would do for them? We talk about the dearth, the lack of engineers, STEM, right? STEM, or Black representation in STEM, right? But we know by third grade, mathematically, people fall off that you can't be an engineer. If you don't get calculus by 9th, 10th grade, how are you going to become an engineer, right? So if you really want to change, you really want to talk about inclusion, you really want to make a difference, how about we go back and tell the truth? Stop lying to your children and stop allowing people to lie to them, telling them that the Greeks invented or discovered mathematics, right? The principles have always been there. Somebody had to realize them. The Greeks didn't start mathematics, right? We got a shirt that's shape of Africa, but inside of it, it says, guess who taught the Greeks, right? Because when you read the history, they tell you. They sat at the feet of the Africans. Why are we allowing our babies to be lied to? Black history is world history, but it's the pages that's been ripped out and been missing, right? And it's not just, I'm going to go into this in a minute, it's not just the Western states that have lied to you, right? Islam had a slave trade as well. We don't even talk about it, right? But when you go west, when you go east, the same manipulation, the same leaving us out of the conversation in world history was done to the east that was done in the west. And we let Islam off the hook, right? The Arabs, excuse me, right? It's just the truth. I like the truth, people. And if the truth offends you, that's your issue, it's not mine.
Whoa.
I like the truth too.
Whoa. So that was just a little snippet from the Black History program put on by Verse in the Books this past week. And if you want to see the entire thing, because I believe that was Freddie Taylor from Urban Intellectuals, but there was also the urban historian, I guess, Sherman Dilla, who I've just come to learn about. Phenomenal. So if you want to see the whole thing, and trust me, I really highly suggest it. It's on her YouTube channel. So just search for Burst in the Books on YouTube and you'll find it. And it is well worth an hour of your time. So I just wanted to share that, because we are, this is Black History Month. So happy Black History Month to everybody. And as
Black History Month.
And as we kick off this last part of our series on education, I just felt like that was relevant as we got started. So anyway, welcome everybody.
All right, welcome you guys to Monday Night Mom Chat. Yes, that was awesome. If for no other reason, that was welcome to eye candy. So thank you, Toni. Oh, I'm sorry. Happy Black History Month, Mom Squad. That's more important. I'm so sorry. Week 4, we're here. Thank you all for tuning in. This is the last night of this series on education. We are going to do something different. We're going to kind of hit the reset button. We're going to survey you guys. But hopefully you guys have liked everything that we've been doing. Mondays at 8. Hopefully that's a good time for you all to come in and tune in. I'm super excited to talk about this topic. Super excited about our guest today. Few housekeeping things. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who went to Disney on Ice this past weekend. Appreciate you. We have a Mom Squad brunch on the 19th. I'm so excited. Adina is working very, very hard to just pull some stuff together. If you have not gotten your tickets yet, please do so. Also, Monster Jam is February 25th through the 27th. Mom Squad Night will be February 26th. So we will go and do all that and have that good fun. And I'm super excited. My daughter got her Dr. Worrill Black History Contest details this weekend. So to make up for my Target shirt from Black History Month, we will be actively participating in the Dr. Worrill contest. Thank you, Dr. Skanes. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Skanes.
Femi, good evening, everybody. Let me just go ahead and say I am sorry. I am at an event, but there was no way that I was going to miss the last series of the Monday Night Moms, the Mom Chat Squad, whatever. All I know is we get together on Monday nights and we talk about real issues and parenting. So there was no way that I was going to miss this last series talking about do grades matter. Tenille, if you come with a Target Black History shirt on, I promise you that your child will not be allowed to participate in anything that has my father's name. I have to put my foot down at some point, okay? But no, we're going to have a good conversation about do grades matter. I think it is given that I want to say post-pandemic, but we're still in a pandemic. And we learned a lot about grades over the last 2 years. So let's get ready to talk about it. I should tell you all, if you don't know by now, I am Dr. Femi Skanes. I am the founder and CEO of Leadership Edge, LLC. Leadership Edge believes that leadership is a lifestyle, parenting is the promise, and equity is essential.
Kyra, all you.
Hello, I am happy to be here tonight. I am Kyra Carter. I am a mom of an adult child, a young adult. My son is 21 years old, a college student, and I have a 9-year-old daughter. I've been a member of the Mom Squad for many, many years. Was very excited about the last Monday night Mom Squad meetup. And really enjoyed it. I was typing in the comments all last week. I'm like, I got some stuff to say. And then lo and behold, I was invited to be a guest this week. So I'm very happy to be here. I am also my profession. I'm a school social worker for Chicago Public Schools.
Awesome. And actually, Kyra, the reason that you were invited was because of all of those great comments yesterday. So we were like, so actually it worked out. So we were like, oh wow, she's got a lot of input, a lot of great contribution. Let's pick her brain. And I'm glad we did, because this is a topic of discussion. And obviously it's piqued some interest. Let's say it like that. We had some great conversation in the Mom Squad already. So we want to kind of bring that out. So my name is Toni Husbands. I am the founder of Debt Free Divas, also a long-term member of the Mom Squad and a mom of 2 who are currently in remote school right now. And so I am very interested in this topic of do grades matter. So I've been doing a lot of reading on it because in all honesty, I would say short answer to me, yes. Grades matter, but obviously there are, different schools of thought on that, and I'm so interested to kind of hear your thoughts. So, Kyra, we were having a great conversation, a pregame conversation, I guess. But why don't you kind of just fill us in with some of your thoughts on this? Like, let's just go around. Kyra, why don't you start us off? What do you say when the question is asked? Do grades matter?
So, to take the question at face value, do grades matter? I would say absolutely. But I think that the question that we as parents, as moms, need to ask is, do grades matter all the time? And I would say absolutely not. Um, Obviously, certainly I speak from the perspective of living in the city of Chicago, and being a mom and an employee of CPS. And so there are certain periods of time where grades matter. Elementary school grades, I don't think are that important. However, I'm a
Why?
mom of a, I'm sorry.
Why? Can you? Because I got elementary school kids, so let
Okay, so I'm more focused. First of all, I don't. I'm a person that what does the grade actually represent? You know, what does it mean? I was a student who I'm the youngest. My sister's 2 years ahead of me. Both of my parents are educators. I learned everything when my sister learned it. Everything. So
Okay.
when I entered kindergarten, I knew everything that a child who just left first grade should know.
Mm.
I went to school. I learned nothing at school. Absolutely nothing. School was very easy for me. Everything they put in front of me, I already knew. I completed assignments and I went on about my business. I was I had already mastered that, but I was becoming a very lazy student, because I didn't have to work. Um, those grades didn't represent a work ethic. They didn't represent studying. They didn't represent any of that. It was just information I already had.
Okay.
Um, Fast forward to when I was in seventh grade, back in the day in CPS, they used to have a thing called the academic talent search. And they took the top percentages of kids who scored on the Iowa test of basic skills and they gave them the SAT test in seventh grade. And while I was taking this test, my mom was being pitched about the academic center, seventh, eighth grade programs. And my mom, oh, okay. Applied to Kenwood, got in. I went to Kenwood for eighth grade. I had the worst. I had never even gotten a C on an assignment in my life, not let alone a report card, but on a paper. I got D's, C's.
Mm.
My eighth grade year. I learned more that year
Mm.
than I ever learned in my life. I learned a ton, but I wasn't used to that kind of work. I wasn't used to working. I wasn't used to studying. So I had this history of straight A's where I wasn't learning anything, and when I started learning, I got C's, mostly C's and a D. And so for me, my concern is, do you know the skills? Are you mastering the skills? And so, yes, am I going to be on my daughter next year when she's in fifth grade to get good grades? Yes, it's not because the grades matter to me. It's because grades matter to the selective enrollment process and fifth grade scores I looked at for academic center. It's
Gotcha.
not that I'm so invested. And I think a lot of parents are overly invested in their children's grades and they feel like it's a reflection of them. And what does it mean? It's bragging rights. We talked a lot about the name brand schools last week. It's brag,
Yeah.
my baby got straight A's. Everybody want to jump on Facebook and show the picture of their baby's report card. And, but what do the grades really represent? And so
Okay.
I'm more concerned with, when it comes to academics, I'll say, I'm more concerned with, are you mastering the skills? Because there are kids who know everything, they are learning, they're paying attention, but they don't do the assignments or they don't hand it in. And when they take a standardized test, they're going to score higher than kids who got that A because they understand the concepts. And so, I'm not saying grades don't matter, but I just don't think they matter all the time.
I have a follow-up question to that, but I want to kind of come to Dr. Femi.
Yeah.
Femi.
Femi,
Femi, why did you want to? You brought up this topic about we can discuss do grades matter. Why did you think we need to discuss this in the first place? Like, what were you kind of going with that?
So, the first thing is the question was, do grades matter? But I guess my question now, so I'm throwing a little monkey wrench, even in my original question was, who do grades matter to? And so I think that that's an even deeper question, right? Who do they matter to? When you can understand who they matter to, then you can understand why grades matter. So my initial answer, well, it depends on when you ask me, what day you ask me. Some days I might tell you, yes, grades matter, and tomorrow I might tell you that no, grades don't matter. because it's really a matter of who they matter to.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, you went on mute.
Okay, at the end of the day, the answer is really simple. Grades matter because grades lock the door, unlock the door, and actually lock the door to opportunities. So, first of all, let me tell you all something funny about Kyra and I. Kyra and I are like Facebook besties. Like, we literally met each other on Facebook from just having a whole bunch of mutual friends. And we've kind of like gotten to be friends. It's kind of crazy. Like, she's
Okay.
my Facebook bestie. But, like, where I would challenge her is like, grades can't matter in fifth grade if grades didn't matter in fourth grade, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just about grades mattering, it's about what is the academic culture that we're willing to build. And so I do agree that it's about the skill, but
Mm-hmm.
it's Black History Month. So let me go a little deeper and talk about Black people. We can do all that talking about grades don't matter if we want to, but it'll be our kids who suffer because they don't have the opportunity because we've focused more on a skill. I think we have to have a balance between skills and grades because grades are about level. So
Mm-hmm.
the answer is yes, they matter.
So, what does it, what do you think, Tenille? Do you have the same that same, I guess, focus on whether grades matter or not?
I
As a
believe grades.
mom?
Yep, I believe grades. Yeah, so we all know the responsible answer to this question is, of course, grades matter. And as my daughter is listening, of course, your grades matter. Uh, However, I think it's a helicopter up conversation that we always have to kind of ask ourselves, and I think it's year by year, case by case. I knew third grade was a pivotal year for us because that was the testing. I knew fifth grade was a pivotal year because that was what was going to determine whether or not she was going to get into honors for junior high. I know seventh grade is our pivotal year because that's the year that matters for getting in placement for your high school.
Okay.
So all of that matters, the metrics, and I think that's what teaches us the discipline. But I think Kyra hit it on the head and Dr. Skanes hit it on the head. At what point do we need to place so much emphasis if that's not your child's thing? I think it all still goes back, and hopefully for me, what I've learned this whole series is it's about our children and what matters to our children. If you know that your kid is constantly struggling in a particular area and the A's aren't attainable, own that, be okay with that. And to Kyra's point, what are we learning? Let's have deeper discussions. Maybe you're a writer, maybe you're not that. So yes, it matters, but in this house, if Reagan comes home with an 85 or an 87 in my head, great, you've been challenged this week. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it as, oh my God, you didn't get the A. What did you miss? What can we learn? What can we grow from? And I just don't believe that at the end of the day, we as parents need to always put that emphasis on grades because I think it goes back to your kids. And Kyra, I think you gave the perfect example. My example to that is one, my disclaimer, proud product of Valley View School District down in Bolingbrook. My daughter is in Valley View School District, but
Mm-hmm.
and I love them. But they had a lot that they needed to get together. And I think when my transition from, we moved out here in second grade, so I was at Ariel Community Academy, and then we came out to Bolingbrook. We went to BJ Ward first, and I never forget, remember, and different principal, but I will never forget looking at the papers. You know how you go to like open house
Mm-hmm.
and they had all the papers on the walls, and all the kids had like A's, B's, but it was like CD work. Okay, who's grading this? And why are we, it's deeper level conversations. Who's giving that A? On what level is that A based on? If there is no, again, to Kyra's point, if you're not learning it and you're just going through the motions, where's the challenge in that? So I think grades are good, but we've got to take steps back.
Can I give a confession? As
Yes.
I actually, when Femi proposed this as a topic, I actually had to kind of think back because my initial response was absolutely grades matter, and I still feel that way. Absolutely, grades matter, and but my oldest is in fourth grade, and he's been traditionally an A student all the way through, right? So we're in a new school now, and it's a remote school, but it's more challenging, right? And I'm not saying his past school wasn't up to par, but this one is definitely more challenging because they're remote, they're required to do a lot of self study, and it's like self paced, and so they have to kind of they become a lot more, I guess, responsible, with me, looking over, but they become a lot more responsible for the assignments and the things that they have to do and getting through the lessons. And my son, in one of his first assignments in this new school, got an F on something, right? And this is the confession. I freaked out on him, right? I had totally lost my noodle. I mean, I really went over. I went overboard to the point where I had to apologize to him about the way I reacted. But my intent was to impress upon him that it is serious. This is very serious. You need to take this. You need to take school serious. You can't just turn in anything, any kind of way, and just to get done with it. Now, given, and I say, like I say, I'm giving you guys my confession. My mom failed, because I did. I really, I really I had to think about this. And I was like, dial it back. And, it's one grade, and in the grand scheme of things, he still came out with all A's in that term. But I was thinking about just how important, I think that's the thing I'm thinking, is just how important to me in fourth grade, a math grade or whatever, was to me, in terms of I don't want you to, I think I freaked. I don't want you to fail out of life and be like some, I went there, I took it all the way there, with one grade on a thing. But so it's I guess my question is kind of I don't apologize for thinking that grades matter. I do recognize that I need to chill, and okay, let's figure out, it was a new system. It was a new kind of situation. And we've done that. We've made the adjustment to try to help him figure out, how do you manage, this self-study. I mean, I'm telling you, I told my son, when he gets finished with fourth grade, he's going to be ready for the university. That is how challenging this is. Cause me and my husband both, we getting together and trying to figure this stuff out with him, help him get through. But how do we kind of keep that balance of, yes, grades matter, but not needing my child to be on somebody's therapist couch by the time he's in fifth grade.
Which is what I was about to say.
Because
I'm
that's
sorry.
I'm the social worker.
So I get the bad rap sometimes. But at the end of the day, I would tell parents, you need to chill. You're creating anxiety in your kids, and they're gonna hate school. So your very good intention, you got to get good grades. You can create something that was never really your intention, and I see it with high performing kids all the time.
All the time. All the time. And I also want to say, when we as parents, and like Femi said, who are grades important to? I think that as parents, we should have conversations with our children to let them know grades are important for these reasons. I, as a parent, I am more concerned that you understand. And if you understand and you master, good grades are going to be a product of that. But I think a lot of parents, we focus on the grade. You got an F. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. We don't even stop to say, what concept didn't you understand? We don't even stop to talk about, what is it that you struggled with? What was it about this? What are you guys actually doing in this unit? What part of it was very difficult for you? Where can we get you some support in that? We don't talk about the actual work or the challenge or the struggle that led to the F. Is you had F, you need to study, you need to do this. There's an assumption there that they didn't do something that we automatically know they could do, and they just didn't do it. And now they have an F. And when you do that, you rob your child of being able to have a growth mindset to say, okay, I didn't get it this time. I can keep working. And we, like Femi says, particularly with high achieving students, when we as parents attack on grades like that, when things become difficult, they just shut down. They are afraid to try. They feel like, I don't know it. I'm not going to get it. And so one thing that I have done with my children, and my children are very different when it comes to academics. And something that Femi said last week really stuck out to me when we were talking about the selective enrollment. And she said, kids who go to those schools have to be intrinsically motivated.
Yep.
And that is very true. It is very true. One thing I've always told my children is, I want your best. Your best is always good enough because you can't do anything more.
Yep.
There are times that your best might get you a C. Everything is not going to be, there are challenging subjects, there are challenging units, there are challenging things that even the most smart child, even gifted children are not gifted in every area. You may run against something that your very best might be a high C that time. And you know what? If I see you working and I know you've given it your all, I'm going to hug you. I'm going to say, you know what, baby? You did what you could do. We're going to get you some help. I'm proud of you for the work you did. I'm proud that you pushed through. I'm proud that you didn't give up. I've had a B come in my house that I was like, this is some mess. Because guess what? I knew you could get the A. This was easy. Now, my son, very intrinsically motivated. He's a hard worker. Went all the way through elementary school, high school. He went to Lynn Bloom. He's a senior in college. He's never had a C in his life. He plays basketball. He's a student athlete. He was at school. I watched his game online. I'm talking to him. I'm like, where are you? After the game, I call him after every game. I'm like, where are you? What is it I hear? He's like, I'm at the library. After the game, baby, I saw you limp off the court. What? He's like, I had to go. You know, I don't have a choice. He's in a tough class. He's like, I don't have a choice. I said, you always have a choice. He was like, I'm in jeopardy of getting a C. That was unacceptable for him. He was like, if I get it, I get it, but I'm not going to get it because I didn't do everything I could do.
Okay.
Your little girl, she's going to sit down to do the IXL, and as soon as she gets to an 80, she going to stop. I said, Rhea, you're not going to keep going to get the 100? It's a B, Ma. A B is good.
But let me say this, though. Because I don't want you all to think I'm perfect Patty in this parenting thing, okay? So we're going to call this true confessions of parenting. So 2 things. First thing is I should sell. I got a little formula. It actually works, right? I'm an educator. I know how grades work. I know how GPAs work. I know all of these things. So my daughter's freshman year, my daughter starts off kind of lukewarm and she gets better. Freshman year in high school, she gets I don't know, maybe a 2.5, 2.6, something like that. I knew that she was going to, at minimum, need a 3.0 to access to access scholarships and all of these things, right? I know how to play the numbers game with GPAs. I know how to take the number of classes that you take, the number of points. You actually can get a D on your transcript if you get enough A's to balance it because it's literally a numerical point system. I sat there and I counted how many points she had to get in her sophomore year to bring her GPA above a 3.0. So the question was, do grades matter? I knew that they would matter for her the scholarship. So I was like, hey, we can take a D, but that means you got to get this many A's or this many B's, right? But now going on a little bit more, talking about do grades matter? My son has done well in high school. He's never gotten anything but A's and B's in high school. Well, he got a little case of senioritis. So when I was on his butt a couple of weeks ago because he was going to potentially have a C, it wasn't going to be the worst thing in the world to me, actually. But I knew that he was going to look back and regret that C. So I pushed him harder than I would push him before because I realized that he was tired in that moment. But I also understood that he was going to need that skill of perseverance that was going to push him over the hump because you also need the skill of perseverance in college. So you got to just kind of know when grades matter, how they matter. When I tell you I could teach you all how to play the point game. So a kid starting off or having a bad semester is not the end of the world if you understand how points work on GPAs. And she graduated, I think she might have graduated with a 3.2 or a 3.3, which is actually difficult to do unless you understand GPAs and points.
Okay.
And I think I've always said this, that's part of my oops, I'm out. But I think CPS parents, you guys have a different level of stress when it comes to grades. Sorry. There was, to me, to know that I was supposed to put Reagan in a daycare that was going to teach her to read at 4. So my mom was like, what about reading readiness? Why is that where we have to be in order to get into a good kindergarten? So my heart always goes out to CPS parents. And I know it's the education system is the education system, but I think that it's still, for as much as we talked about selective schools, I mean, there's still an overarching elephant in the city that says my kid is supposed to get into a good school. They're supposed to test into a good school. They're supposed to do those things. And it's hard not to put that stress on your child if you don't have outlets like this to just talk about it, or somebody to say, you know what, it's okay, or hey, let's start looking at our neighborhood schools or looking at other schools and ways we could be. And I mean, it was the same way with VBSD. It's like, hey, I want my daughter to test into the, not only into honors, but into the special school. Maybe that wasn't her path. Maybe that wasn't what she was supposed to be. So I think a lot of times we always have to just stop as parents and be honest with ourselves, or attempt to be honest with ourselves, be okay with whatever moment we had, but also be okay with like I tell you guys, when Reagan comes home with 87, some days I'm like, okay, that's good. If everything's an A all the time, then I have to start back questioning myself whether or not I put you in something that was challenging enough for you to even just kind of learn and know and master. Are you going through the motions?
And grades can be BS. When my son was in about first grade, I knew his reading was lukewarm, and I'm a reading specialist, right? But my son's face is as cute and round, and he could finesse a woman very early on, and he got an A. Now, I don't know if we're supposed to cuss on here, but I said, how in the hell
Get an A.
did he get an A? What did he read? Did he read it out loud? He could finesse you. He could hear the teacher read, and he could regurgitate the information. I said he cannot read, and I don't believe this A, and you're going to have to do better. So, right on the flip side of it, sometimes we just kind of let stuff go when our kids get A's. Our job as parents is to press the school and make them prove what our kids are learning.
Yeah.
So there's a mom on the earlier comments from within inside the group, and she made a comment. I want to get you guys' response to it. And she was saying that she has one child that gets really good grades, really great grades, and her middle child who struggles, right? And so I'm just wondering if you guys have any thoughts on how do you approach that? If you have a child that, and the other question I thought about that when she mentioned that, I'm like, how do you know the child is struggling because they're just, they're challenged, or are they struggling because they're just not trying?
I think that as parents, we know our children, we know their personality. Like, I know my daughter. I know that as bright as she is, and just on pure intelligence, she's way ahead of where my son was at her age. But he was a more intrinsically motivated and a harder worker than she is. So I know, like right now, my daughter just got a C in math. She just got a C in math this quarter. I know she's struggling with math, with certain concepts, but I also know that she struggles with advocating for herself, asking for help, and that is contributing to her academic struggle in this subject. Okay. So I said to say, we know our kids' personalities. You know when they're slacking and when they can do more. And then you have to have conversations with your child, and honest conversations. And you have to provide a safe space for your child to know it's okay to say, I really don't know, especially when you have a child who usually knows. They've always gotten good grades. A lot of those children fear saying to a parent, I don't understand this. This is hard for me because it never has been before. And when we celebrate all of that excellence, they feel like the expectation is that's how it's always going to be. And there's no room for them to not know things. And so you have to have conversations like, hey, it's okay. Like Tenille said, when her daughter comes in with an 87, she's like, oh, that's fine. But then it's like, what if it's a 77? Are we still okay then?
I'm good.
And so when it's a 77, you are freaking out. And so you can't be like, because our kids feed off of us. And we're the adults who are supposed to be better able to manage our emotions. And so if we're freaking out over a 77, how is a child with a undeveloped brain going to manage that? They have to deal with their own expectations, the expectations of the teacher, the expectations of parents. If you're the smart kid in the class, the expectation of peers, oh, she don't get it this time. There's a lot. And it's a mistake. And this is kind of getting a little bit off subject, but it's a mistake to think that children aren't carrying a lot just because they're children. You only have one job. It's
yeah,
just
she's talking to you. I'm just saying.
It really is a mistake to think that. I work in schools. I see what these kids are dealing with every day. There are kids who are suffering in school and they go home and they say nothing. They don't say a word to their parents. They literally have no idea the challenges that their children are facing every single day when they walk into a school building. So they may have one job, but it's not an uncomplicated job. It's not. There is very nuanced, the things that they're dealing with, what it takes to achieve. This is not the days of old. The challenges in that building are very, very real. And something that Femi said that I do want to just kind of segue, and this is the social worker in me. She said her son, had a round face and he could finesse. I want parents to understand that these soft skills are very, very, very important. A lot of you people who work in corporate America, you have managers and bosses who are very much C students. They were very mediocre, very average students, but they have networking skills. They are relationship builders. People like them. They know how to communicate with people. They understand the job and the task enough to do it.
Yep.
But what takes them from here to here is that they know how to deal with people. They know how to talk to people. They know how to get it done. There are going to be students who get straight A's, and when they go in for that scholarship interview, they're going to tank because they don't know they don't know how to talk to adults. They don't know they're nervous. They don't know how to interact, and those straight A's aren't going to help them in that moment. Because guess what? Almost everybody coming in there is going to have straight A's. What's going to set them apart? And that's something that I've been very, very adamant about with my children. My daughter, I'm divorced. My daughter was out at a football game with my ex-husband, and my girlfriend texted me, and she hadn't seen Rhea since she was very little. She texted me, she sent me a picture of the two. She said, Kyra, she's so personable. I called her. That's intentional. Yeah. Children need to be comfortable having conversations with adults. You have to. Now, she's very comfortable in social settings. She struggles a little more in class, asking for help, advocating for herself and we're working on that. But my son, that is intentional. Talk to your children about those soft skills. Work on those skills too. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And like I said, I'm not a grades don't matter. I'm a grades don't always matter. And pinpoint to your children, who do they matter to? To me, as your mom, I want you to get good grades so it opens doors. It's not for me. I'm not overly invested in your grades. It doesn't make me feel good as a person and as a mom. I'm such a great mom because my child did this. No, it's going to afford you opportunities because I don't have no money. And you need these grades and some skills so these people will open their purses so you can go to this college. And so that's why grades are important. But I take no glory in, my baby, call me and tell me my baby is a good person. Call me and tell me that they did this. The best compliment I've gotten from my son, the seeker at his school said, when he was at Lindblom and they have a cluster program, he got off the elevator. I was about to yell at him for being late for class, but he was helping one of the special needs students. That's the best compliment I have ever gotten about my child from his teachers. And I've gotten a ton of them. But those kinds of things, who are they as people? That matters. Grades are important at certain times for certain things.
All agreed. Kyra, you have been awesome on here.
Yes.
I want to dial it back just real quick before Toni wraps us up. We're talking like very seasoned parents because we are all very seasoned parents at some point. I want to make sure that this conversation also touches the kindergarten parents. The first, we don't know them babies yet. Let's keep it real. We don't know whether or not you slacking or playing. We didn't know if you just needed a hug because mommy didn't let you go to daycare and you first time going to school. Let's talk to those parents real quick as it relates to do grades matter at that point? And should we be tutoring? I think one of the posts that hurts my heart the most, and that's just me throwing out mom judgment, are the I need a tutor for my kindergartner. Why? If y'all don't get in the kitchen and look at colors and practice the stuff, that hurts my heart, because I feel like that's a tense environment being created, and they haven't even gotten off and running yet.
So the number one mistake that we actually ask our kids is, so this is for my parents of younger kids. We say, what did you do at school today? Okay, that's actually not the best question. If you want to build a culture, so this is not just about grades, but this is about learning first. The correct question to ask your child every day is, tell me, and not, did you learn something at school today? It's every day, tell me what you learned at school today. Every day say, tell me what you learned at school today. Because if you say, did you do anything at school today, the answer will be no. I'm like, ain't nobody stood there with you 7 hours and teach you nothing now. So you have to say, tell me what you learned today. Tell me why that's important. Tell me how you can use it. So then you begin to build up a culture of importance for education. Once you begin to build up a culture where education is important. Now I'm about to, you know, I don't know. The people not gonna like me in a minute, but I'm gotta talk to them.
It's our last one. It's okay.
We'll be back though. We'll reinvent.
We'll be back.
So here's the thing: we gotta chill on this technology. You gotta get back to putting some books in their hand. I was at breakfast one morning. I was by myself, surprisingly enough, and it was a mom sitting with next to me. This was pre-COVID. 2 boys were with her, and the youngest one would not eat until she pulled out the tablet. Now I tried to chill. I tried, but the spirit wouldn't let me. I said, now, ma'am, I said, I'm gonna tell you something, okay? I'm not here to judge you. I said, I'm telling you this as a mom and as an educator and a mom of a busy boy. I said, the fact that he would not eat his food unless you put technology in his hand is gonna be a problem. But I told her, I said, I'm gonna tell you why it's gonna be a problem, because that means that he needs to be stimulated and entertained all the time. That means that he's going to struggle in school. If he's not going to eat his food without a tablet, then he can't eat. It's just that simple. We got to chill on the technology, because there are things about putting a book in their hand. It teaches some motor skills. It teaches how to turn the pages of the book. It teaches your eyes to track for reading. It teaches all of these things. But you know what? When we need them to be quiet, we put this in their hand for ourselves and not for them. The technology has its time and has its place, but we're using it to overstimulate, and it's actually why a lot of our kids don't have enough value in what's going on in the class, because a teacher is going to have a hard time competing with a cell phone all day long. But we don't want to talk about that, right? We're like, oh no, the teachers need to keep up with technology to a certain degree, but the kids also need to learn how to read a paper book. That's not going to kill them either.
I'm with you 100% on that, Femi, and I very much limit my daughter's technology. There's way too much technology, and I think it also is a great contributor to the attention issues that we see in students in schools. And I see very young children with tablets. I mean, months old. Very, very, and a lot of parents think, oh, it's the ABCs, oh, it's educational content, so it's okay. But the technology, I think it's addictive, even for the young children. And then they are zoned in or tuned into that form of learning and that form of engagement. And then it's hard for them to engage in regular classroom learning and for it to keep their attention, because they're so used to all of these sounds and colors and flashing and lights, in order to keep their attention. So I'm very much on board with the scaling back of technology. And I remember one of my daughter's friends, her mom was like, you don't let her watch TV during the weekend? Oh, I was like, no.
What?
It's,
what kind of mama are you? Hold on, let me rescue her. I got to say these kids. What?
For the
weekend.
And baby, when the weekend comes, she be don't want to leave the house on Saturday. She told me Saturday, Mama, the Lord made the weekends for resting. So we can I don't even want to leave the house. I want to watch TV. But she wants to catch up because she's in activities, and then we get home, and then it's homework. And let's just, from time to time, I'll let her come in the room with me. And I'm watching something, and she might, hang out with me and see what I'm watching. But her own personal shows, I shut that.
That baby ain't got no shows.
She got shows. Let there be no confusion. Because Mama's house and Daddy's house are two different things. But she got shows, and she watches shows. But I try to limit it. I've gotten a little soft, and maybe once or twice a week. But for there was a time where it was 0 all week long, every now and then. But it's relegated mostly to the weekend. But that technology is hurting our children, and I see it every day working with students. And then they are used to being overstimulated. And then they can't sit still, and they can't when they come into the classroom. It's a real thing, and then they end up on my face.
Well, Miss Kyra,
I got a moment in Black history.
Well, Miss Kyra, for joining us. And before we kind of get out of here, I just want to give us a chance to.
Oh, wait, I real quick, I had a moment in Black history. So somebody's comment said their mother used to lock the TV away in the closet. Okay, so back in the day, we only had one TV. My mother is an intellectual. Okay, we had, I don't know how many thousands of books that my mother has and has read. My mother reads, like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, we had one TV when I was a kid. But during the month of February, my mother watched the whole Shaka Zulu series from beginning to end. You all remember when Shaka Zulu used to come on during Black History Month? Anybody remember that? So I could not watch TV during that week because my mother it was the only time she ever watched TV was to watch Shaka Zulu. I used to cry. Like, how many times do we have to watch? And to this day, my mother's still like, your kids need to watch Shaka Zulu.
Oh.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. I love it.
So again, Kyra, just thank you for joining us today. We're gonna kind of wrap this up because I'm taking all of this in, experienced moms and educators. So thank you very much. I'm gonna speak for the Mom Squad tonight as an active member, because this is good. We need to understand. I still believe that grades matter, but I definitely believe that I need to, help my child recognize and understand why they matter to him. And it's not necessarily like a badge that I'm trying to, and I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not. I just know, like you said, it's going to unlock doors. There are expectations that I do have for my children in terms of what they can accomplish. And I know that, but I need to temper that and chill in case we have another issue. And I'm not proud about that at all. But I do want to say that as we wrap up, I'm going to post a survey or questionnaire in the comments. If you have some feedback that you'd like to give us, if there is a topic that you'd like to hear us tackle, if you'd like to be a mom guest on an upcoming show, then please look for the Google form and fill that out, and we will be in touch. So is there anything you want to leave us with, Kyra?
Kyra.
Sorry.
No worries. I just really want parents to take a step back when it comes to grades, and be sure that your children understand why the grades matter, and who they, as Femi said, who they matter to, and that is not. Kids hate to disappoint their parents. That's like the worst feeling in the world as a child, to feel like you've disappointed your parent. And so, I want us to be careful with, and I'm not saying don't have expectations for your child, because you know what your child can do. And I expect you to do your best. That's my expectation. And if you're doing less than that, then that's problematic. But when your child has done their best and they haven't achieved at the level that you've hoped that they would achieve for, then you have to be able to provide a space where that's okay. where that's okay, and that they don't have to have anxiety about that because it's real. I see it every day. If they never tell you, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. That's it.
So I'm going to wrap up again. I'm sorry for the little bit of the background noise, but I was not going to miss this conversation. So I just want to wrap it up with this. I do believe that grades matter, but I would like to challenge parents from the time that your baby is going to preschool until the time they graduate from college and get master's and doctorate degrees. Always ask them to articulate what they're learning. If they can articulate what they're learning, why they're learning it, and how they can apply it in life, then you're doing the right thing. And if sometimes it's sprinkled with grades that you didn't think, it really, at some point, grades don't necessarily matter. They matter in the right now, typically not in the long run. But let's focus on what our kids are learning, and that'll take them much further than letter grades, actually.
I love it. This has been great. We did this 4 weeks. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Thank you all for tuning in. I too have learned a lot. And Kyra, you were awesome. You need to be guest speaking somewhere on somebody's stage doing something if you don't already. Thank you for your contributions. I would like to leave the group with this today. I would like to challenge everyone to stop texting their children while they're at school. I'm done. Close the broadcast. Done. Mic drop. That post, I'm still baffled. Yes, and Petty, get to know me. Stop texting them children while they're at school. Toni, I'm done. I'm out.
And don't forget about the brunch. If you guys want to do participate in the brunch, look in the events. Your funds are due by February 11th. So don't forget about that.
What's due by February 11th? What's due by February 11th?
The money.
For the brunch.
The funds, right. So if you want to do, it's limited space because of capacity and COVID. So there's limited space. So there is still space available, but you need to get your money in by February 11th if you want to attend.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Have a good night, everybody.
Stop texting them kids. Bye.